A McDonald's that served customers for more than 30 years has permanently closed its doors, not because the food suddenly got worse, not because customers stopped showing up. According to the franchise owner himself, the reason was simple and far more unsettling. The economics no longer worked. That single sentence captures a shift that many people are only now starting to notice. When a brand as optimized, as scaled, and as experienced as McDonald's can no longer make the numbers work in certain places, something deeper is changing. What happened at this one restaurant is not an isolated event. It is part of a broader transformation unfolding across California, and the implications extend far beyond fast food. I'm going to walk you through what actually happened, why it happened, and what the documented data shows. This is not speculation. These are real businesses, real workers, real studies, and real economic decisions that are already affecting prices, jobs, and consumer behavior. Before we get into the details, take a moment to let me know where you are watching from. Are you in California or somewhere else? And have you noticed changes in fast food prices or restaurant closures in your area? Those personal observations help connect the data to real life. The closure that brought renewed attention to this issue took place at the Stonestown Galleria in San Francisco. Scott Roderick operated a McDonald's there for 3 decades. 30 years of serving Big Macs, Happy Meals, and McFlurries to locals, students, and mall shoppers. In June 2024, customers arriving at the location were met with a note on the door announcing that the restaurant was permanently closed. In that message, Roderick explained that unprecedented changes to California's economic landscape, combined with poorly timed legislative mandates, had narrowed the path forward to the point where continuing operations was no longer viable. In plain terms, he was saying that the business could no longer cover its costs and remain sustainable. This was not a decision handed down by McDonald's corporate leadership from a distant headquarters. It was made by a franchise owner who had invested decades of his life into that location. Roderick described the closure as gut-wrenching for his family. For 30 years, the restaurant had been part of his livelihood and part of the surrounding community. Its closure marked the end of something built gradually over time, not a short-term experiment that failed quickly. What makes this case particularly important is that it fits into a much larger pattern. Over the past 18 months, California's fast food industry has experienced notable job losses. Estimates vary depending on the source, but multiple studies place the number somewhere between 10,000 and more than 20,000 jobs lost. During the same period, fast food employment continued to grow in much of the rest of the country. That contrast is central to understanding why this issue has attracted so much attention. To understand the numbers, it is necessary to look at a major policy change that took effect on April 1st, 2024. On that date, California's minimum wage for fast food workers at chains with 60 or more locations nationwide increased from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. That represents a 25% increase in hourly labor costs overnight for a large segment of the industry. The law applied to more than 500,000 fast food workers across roughly 30,000 restaurants statewide. On the surface, $20 an hour sounds like a clear improvement for workers. For someone working full-time, that equates to approximately $41,600 per year before taxes. Supporters of the policy argued that higher wages would help workers keep up with the cost of living. However, economists and industry analysts have focused on how such a rapid increase affects employment, hours, prices, and business viability. In July 2025, the National Bureau of Economic Research published a study authored by economists from the University of California, San Diego, and Texas A&M University. Their analysis compared employment trends in California's fast food sector to trends in the rest of the United States. The researchers concluded that California lost approximately 18,000 fast food jobs relative to what would have been expected without the wage increase. They found that employment in the sector declined by about 2.7% compared to other states where fast food employment continued to grow. Other economists reported similar findings. Christopher Thornburg of Beacon Economics estimated that approximately 23,100 fast food jobs were lost over the past year. Meanwhile, the California Employment Development Department revised its own figures, reporting that limited service restaurants experienced a reduction of about 2,500 jobs. While the exact numbers differ, the direction is consistent. Employment declined after the wage increase took effect. One of the more notable aspects of the data comes from a study by the Berkeley Research Group. This is Elizabeth Davis. This research was funded by the same labor union that had advocated for the $20 minimum wage. Even so, the study concluded that approximately 10,700 fast food jobs were lost. The authors described the decline as the steepest outside of the Great Recession and the pandemic. When studies from different perspectives all point to job losses, it suggests that the effect is difficult to dismiss. Another critical detail is timing. Many of the job cuts began before the wage increase officially took effect. In December 2023, several Pizza Hut franchise operators in California reviewed the upcoming labor costs and made decisions in advance. They filed notices stating that they would eliminate all delivery driver positions. Pack Pizza and Southern California Pizza Company, two major franchise operators, cut more than 1,200 delivery jobs across multiple counties, including Orange, Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ventura. An additional 800 workers were affected in Sacramento, Central California, and the Reno-Tahoe region. One delivery driver who had worked for Pizza Hut for 9 years told Business Insider that he received $400 in severance pay. That works out to roughly $44 per year of service. After the layoffs, customers were redirected to third-party delivery platforms such as DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. From the company's perspective, outsourcing delivery reduced direct labor costs. From the workers' perspective, long-held positions disappeared before the new wage even started. Pizza Hut was not alone. Across the state, restaurant operators began reassessing staffing models, hours, and locations. Some chose to close underperforming stores. Others reduced employee hours or delayed investments in equipment and renovations. These adjustments reflect how businesses respond when costs rise faster than revenue. Rubio's Coastal Grill offers another documented example. The chain, which is often credited with popularizing the fish taco in the United States, was founded in San Diego in 1983. At its peak, Rubio's operated nearly 200 locations. On May 31st, 2024, the company abruptly closed 48 restaurants across California in a single day. 13 were in San Diego, 24 in the Los Angeles area, and 11 in Northern California. Employees arrived for work to find that their locations were no longer operating. 5 days later, Rubio's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Court filings showed that the company had more than $1 billion in debt and less than $30 million in cash, the second bankruptcy filing for Rubio's in 4 years. In official statements, the company cited reduced in-store traffic due to work-from-home trends, rising food and utility costs, and significant increases in California's minimum wage. Those combined pressures made many locations unsustainable. In August 2024, Rubio's was sold to its lenders for approximately $40 million. For context, private equity firm Mill Road Capital had acquired Rubio's in 2010 for about $91 million. Over 14 years, the company lost more than half its value. That decline illustrates how changing economic conditions can reshape even well-known regional brands. For franchise owners, the financial math becomes clear very quickly. Alex Johnson, who operates 10 fast food locations in California, estimated that the wage increase would add approximately $470,000 in labor costs across his restaurants. That is nearly $500,000 in additional expenses that must be absorbed through higher prices, reduced hours, automation, or cost-cutting elsewhere. Scott Roderick, the McDonald's franchisee who closed the Stonestown Galleria location, owns 18 McDonald's restaurants across California. In anticipation of the wage increase, he raised menu prices by 5 to 7% over a 3-month period. He also began postponing capital expenditures, including dining room upgrades, new cooking equipment, and HVAC replacements. When owners have to choose between maintaining facilities and covering payroll, it signals strain in the underlying business model. Some closures were deeply personal for the workers involved. At a Foster's Freeze in Lodi, California, the owner closed the restaurant on April 1st, 2024, the same day the new wage law took effect. Employees initially thought the closure might be an April Fool's joke. They received a message in their group chat saying the store was shutting down, and many did not believe it. The owner later told a local reporter that closing the restaurant was the last thing he wanted to do. By Friday night, he realized the business was unlikely to survive, but he waited to avoid disrupting employees' Easter plans. The assistant general manager, Monica Navarro, said she learned the store was closed when 2 coworkers arrived to clock in and discovered the doors locked. She received a phone call shortly afterward confirming the closure. Navarro later explained that several employees told her they would have preferred to keep earning the previous wage rather than lose their jobs entirely. In other words, they would rather earn $16 an hour than $0 an hour. That perspective highlights the trade-offs that workers face when employment opportunities shrink. Navarro also noted that employees who remained in the industry often experienced reduced hours. With higher hourly wages, restaurants scheduled fewer workers per shift and shortened operating hours. According to research from the Competitive Enterprise Institute, 89% of California fast food workers reported having their hours reduced after the wage increase. 35% also reported losing supplemental benefits. When hourly pay rises but total hours fall, weekly take-home pay can decline. One worker, Edgar Ramos, who works at a Wingstop in Los Angeles, told CNN that his hourly wage increased from $17.25 to $20 in April 24 cents, and IP Condix. However, his weekly hours dropped to around 20. Ramos said he struggled to get more shifts and questioned why restaurants continued hiring new workers while cutting hours for existing staff. His experience reflects the tension between headline wage increases and actual earnings. Prices are another visible outcome. McDonald's Chief Executive Officer Chris Kempczinski addressed the issue during an earnings call, stating that there would be a wage impact for California franchises and that higher pricing would be part of how those costs were managed. In practical terms, that means customers pay more. Data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that restaurant prices in California increased approximately 14.5% between September 2023 and December 24. Over the same period, the national average increase was about 8%. California's price growth was nearly double the national rate. Chipotle's Chief Executive Officer Brian Niccol acknowledged the challenge, saying that the state was not making it easy for operators. Chipotle raised prices by 6 to 7% in California during the first week of April 2024 alone. Looking at McDonald's more broadly, financial analysis from Finance Buzz indicates that average menu prices have doubled since 2014. A McChicken that once cost $1 now costs nearly $3. A quarter pounder with cheese meal has risen from just over $5 to close to $12 in many locations. McDonald's President Joe Erlinger stated that menu prices have increased about 40% since 2019. Kempczinski also noted that customers earning less than $45,000 a year have reduced their visits, finding that eating at home is often more affordable. Not every operator is failing. Some franchise owners are adapting. Carrie Harper Howie and her sister Nicole own 21 McDonald's restaurants across Los Angeles County, including every McDonald's in the city of Compton. Their family entered the McDonald's system in 1984, using retirement savings to purchase their first location. Today, they employ more than 1,400 people and continue to operate despite the same wage laws and cost pressures. When asked about the wage increase, Carrie Harper Howie said that prices cannot be raised enough to fully offset the added costs. Instead, the company has focused on tighter operational controls. They assigned a supervisor to review food costs at each location, down to details such as condiment usage and portion control. This level of scrutiny shows how narrow margins have become, even for operators who remain profitable. The pattern that emerges is consistent across documented cases. Labor costs increased sharply. Businesses responded by raising prices, reducing hours, delaying investments, or closing locations. Workers who remained employed often earned more per hour, but worked fewer hours. Customers paid more for the same food. Some operators adapted while others exited the market entirely. California's fast food industry is not disappearing. McDonald's still operates more than 1,400 locations statewide, and chains like Chick-fil-A continue to see strong demand. However, the industry is changing. The decisions made by lawmakers, businesses, and consumers are reshaping how fast food operates, who works in it, and what it costs. Monica Navarro, reflecting on the closure of her Foster's Freeze location, noted that it was not the first local business to shut down. She said several others had already closed, and based on the trends, more could follow. Her observation aligns with the data. These changes are not theoretical. They are already affecting workers, owners, and communities. This issue is not just about hamburgers or fries. It is about how economic policy interacts with business realities and how those interactions affect everyday life. The fast food industry provides a clear, data-rich case study because it employs hundreds of thousands of people and operates on thin margins. When conditions shift, the effects are visible quickly. As you think about what you have heard, consider what changes you have noticed where you live. Have prices gone up? Have hours changed? Have familiar restaurants closed? Sharing those experiences helps illustrate how these broader trends play out locally. If you found this analysis valuable, consider subscribing for more data-driven breakdowns like this. 1, share this video with anyone who wants to understand what is happening beneath the headlines. The choices being made today will influence jobs, prices, and opportunities for years to come. Staying informed is the first step toward understanding how those forces shape the future of work and everyday life.